In a previous video we showed how you can add a row expander to a list control in a UX component where clicking on the More button, for example, would reveal additional information, but in the previous video that additional information had already been preloaded into the list control, so no AJAX callback was required. But in this video we're going to show how you can make an AJAX callback. So when the user clicks the More button, an AJAX callback takes place, and then on the server the additional information is computed and then sent back to the client for display. So you can see that when we click on the row here, basically initially it says please wait, and then the callback completes, and then when the callback completes it shows some additional information for, say, the customer called Anton. And so let's go click over there, and then you can see there it says callback is complete, show additional information for Blonap. So obviously the additional information will be computed by the AJAX callback using Blonap as the key value for the additional information. So let's go and take a look now at how we achieve this. So we'll go back to our list control now and go over to list properties, and we'll look at our layout, and we can see that what we've done is we've added an additional parameter to our JavaScript function. So we have this function called show row expander, which gets called when the user clicks on the hyperlink. And in the previous video we were just passing in the zero-based row number and the list ID, but now we're also going to be passing in the customer ID of the row that the user clicked on. But it's important to note here that we've chosen a placeholder called customer ID raw as opposed to customer ID. So let's go and explain now what the difference is. So if I go back to my data source here, I can see that I've changed my SQL to be based on a table to be a custom select statement, and in my SQL select statement I've got customer ID appearing twice. So the first time customer ID appears it has a field name of customer ID, and then the second time it appears it has a field name of customer ID raw. Then if we go to our list of columns that are in this list control, we can see that customer ID here for the first time has a control type of label, which means that this value will be wrapped in span tags, etc. However, this one over here, customer ID raw, has a control type set to raw data, which means that it's not going to be wrapped in any span tags, etc. It's going to be just the actual value in the underlying table. So if we go back to our list control, we can see here that because we've used customer ID raw, we're going to get the correct value of the customer ID, not a value that's been wrapped in a span tag, etc. So then if we look at the actual div that is displayed when the row expander is opened, we can see that just as in the previous video, we have a div with an ID that ends with .lph for list placeholder, and then inside that div we have another div which has an ID that has .inner tacked onto the end of it, and this is where we're displaying the please wait message. So the please wait message is shown when the row is initially expanded, and then when the AJAX callback completes, the contents of this div over here gets replaced by whatever the AJAX callback returned. So now let's go take a look at our JavaScript. So on the JavaScript side we can see that what we've done is inside the show event, what we're doing is we're actually making the AJAX callback. So the AJAX callback takes place as soon as the show event has completed. And then let's take a look here at the definition of do callback. So here's do callback, and what it does is it computes some additional data that's going to be sent back as part of the AJAX callback. So let's pause now and pick this up in the next video. So we're continuing our discussion of row expanders that use AJAX callbacks to populate the additional information that is shown when the row is expanded. So you can see here that we're computing the ID of the inner div, which is where the AJAX callback is going to populate the results of the callback. So you can see here we're computing the ID, and then we're also basically passing back the customer ID over here, the customer ID of the customer that the user clicked on, and then we're calling back into an XBasic function called XB, passing in this as additional information. So now let's go over to XBasic functions, and here's our XBasic function, and we're just simply setting the inner HTML of underbar ID to callback is complete, show additional information for, and then there would be the customer ID. So if we were to go here and put in a debug1, we would be able to see exactly what's happening. So we'll go here, we'll run it, and now we'll click the More button. So the callback fires, and now you can see that we're inside the Ajax callback. And if we look inside E, what we'll see is, let's go here and type E dot underbar ID, and so there's the ID of the div that we're going to write back into, and then also if we double click on that, there's the ID of the customer that we clicked on. So this XBasic here, which is running on the server, could go and do something arbitrarily complex. It could, for example, go and find out all of the orders for this particular customer, and display summary information about that customer. You can do whatever you would like in the Ajax callback, because you have all the information you need. You have the ID of the row that you clicked on, and you also have the ID of the div that the Ajax callback needs to write back into. So here we're basically just saying that the inner HTML of that div is equal to that message over there. So if we go ahead and run it, we can see now that we have callback is complete, show additional information. So this is a very powerful technique because it lets you expand any row in the list control, make an Ajax callback to get arbitrary information, and then stuff that information into the row in the expanded row. Thanks very much for watching.